Yo, yo,
What's up, man?
what's going on, brother?
Nothing much. How you been?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanksgiving Eve.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, hey, you know what? I just started this seamless. I already pressed record and everything. Damn alarm goes off. I might even leave this in, honestly, just kind of funny. But I'm gonna make sure I ain't got
Might as
nothing
well.
else. Yeah. But yeah,
Makes it more
Thanksgiving
authentic.
Thanksgiving Eve. What you guys got planned for tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're gonna go to the in-laws side of the family in the morning and eat with all of them, and then after that we're gonna go to my mom's house and eat with
Nice,
my side of the family. Probably like two or three. We'll head over to her house.
nice. Any
Yeah, I'm gonna
particular
go,
any particular dishes that you're like looking forward to?
dude. So pecan pie is my
Yeah.
big thing for sure. I love some pecan pie. And then I made that post yesterday. I had some people
Hmm.
commenting on there, and I was like, "Damn, actually, I can't. I kind of can't go without that or this or like everything that everyone was throwing out there." I was like,
Yeah.
"Those are kind of Thanksgiving staples you gotta have, like stuffing somebody put on there, pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie."
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna have a little sliver of a couple of those, little
That's a good way to
variety
do
of
it. And you're in a good spot too. You're in a good spot to actually like eat and it just make you better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, and nothing's sticking right now. Everything's just like the other day. I was, or this morning, I was 258. So
Nice.
it's like I was 263 at the beginning of the week, and it's just
Oh wow.
as training volume has ticked up a little bit because I started throwing in like an extra set on some things. So
Hmm.
instead of two top sets, it's been like three on a couple things. But yeah, dude, since I've been doing that, it's kind of ticked down a little bit more. So
Yeah, it's got you're are you 6'2" or 6'3"? I don't remember.
6'2",
Okay. Yeah,
maybe a little
either way.
shorter,
Either way,
somewhere in
crazy
there.
crazy tall for a bodybuilder and like it I plus the heavy body weight, I can only imagine it's got to be hard for you to like actually stay in a surplus cuz like man, you move a
Yeah.
little bit of extra you take an extra 1,000 steps, you're burning who knows how many calories between the
Oh
body
yeah.
weight, height, everything like that. Like and also with having, such a large frame and the high amount of muscle mass, it's like you can easily drop like so a person around like 200 pounds, let's say they have a crazy meal on Thanksgiving, right? They'll maybe bloat up like 5-10 pounds, or if they undereat somehow, they won't drop that much weight. They'll probably drop like 2-3 pounds. With you, there's probably a much wider expanse of what happens. Whereas if you overdo it, which is probably a bit less likely, maybe you'll have like a big water response because there's so much that can be filled up. You'll gain like 10-15 pounds. But then on the other end, if you accidentally undereat compared to what your normal diet is, which probably ain't gonna happen, but it could, you could drop
Yeah.
10 pounds in a day, right?
So quickly.
And that goes into the regular off season too. I could imagine just missing like 1 or 2 meals a week could probably be like a 5, 6, maybe more pound drop for you.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with, like you said, in the off season when
Yeah,
you know, that body weight is so dependent on that, that consistent calorie intake for sure. You're
for
not
sure.
trying to cleat down or anything. I feel like that's when I notice the biggest like weight swings. Like you said, if I do miss a meal or something, it might be 3 pounds lighter the next day, that kind of thing. 3, 4 pounds even.
Yeah, for sure. But with Thanksgiving coming up, I'm actually I think this is the first time in my life I won't be eating Thanksgiving dinner or anything like that.
So you're locked and loaded.
I'm just gonna
Not
white
missing a
knuckle it,
beat.
man. I'm just gonna white knuckle it. And a part of that is honestly because right now I've kind of come to this epiphany over the last couple of weeks and days. Um, I'm not someone who's bad to be around on contest prep by any means, but when I'm deep into a contest prep, I'd say like those last anywhere from 6 to 4 weeks, we get a little agitated. And for me, I think the main reason for that is food focus. So
100%.
basically, I'm using this offseason as an opportunity to kind of try to live in prep 24/7. And food focus is super low. Reda definitely helps that. And I just want to see if I can keep this momentum rolling, honestly.
I honestly, I commend that, dude, because that's the time when I feel like you can kind of break
Yeah,
that mental, whatever that food focus essentially, and you're in a great place to do that. And then tomorrow will definitely be a challenge for sure, like
yeah. No,
a test of
it
your
isn't.
will,
It
not a
won't.
challenge. I won't say that.
Yeah, and another part of it too is like I want to, because I do know, even if I do kind of use this as an opportunity to learn and be able to, act better in a deficit and stuff, or not a deficit, I guess diet restriction would be the proper word. Even with all that being said, I'm super OCD. I like my routine, all that type of stuff. The idea of not knowing when we're going to eat, fuck that. Don't want none of it. Like, oh, we might eat at
Yeah,
1, we might eat at 3. Nah, y'all do your thing. Eat whatever you want. I'm going to eat my meals. I'll have 2 or 3
I got mine
meals.
ready.
Yeah, I'm good. Like, I just don't want that disruption to my plan right now.
Yeah, I definitely understand that for sure. That
Yeah.
not knowing and all that kind of throws it off.
Oh,
We
yeah.
dude, we had the other day. So what was it? Monday. I think it was Monday. Monday we were supposed to go to a funeral. This was the craziest stuff. So we were supposed to go to a funeral.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of just focused on that totally. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna disregard bodybuilding. Like this is important.
Yeah.
On the way to the funeral, on the in-law side of the family, our grandma fell down the stairs and broke her femur. So we
What?
had to drop and totally pivot from going to that to go help her and go to the emergency room and all that. So it was one of those situations. Just didn't have food or anything with me, and I was like, man,
Mm.
this is interesting, especially in this phase.
Yeah.
Luckily, they had a little cafeteria down there and stuff, but I totally just like I was like, food doesn't even matter. Like
Uh-huh.
we got to make sure Granny's good in this
For
moment.
sure.
But yeah, man, I know what you mean. That was like my first time running into that in a long time, to be
Oh, yeah.
honest. Normally, it's been like bang on every meal. I got something ready, got something prepared, and then this was kind of like one of those situations where I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy in this moment, so let me just step back and like
Yeah.
be there for
Uh,
the fam and shit.
Unfortunately, I'm that guy. Like, and if there's not food around, I will not be the best about it. At least in the past, it's been a while since I've had to do that. So I'm sure I've matured in the past 2 3 years. But I don't remember if this was at the visitation, the wake, or whatever. But I know I had. This is when I was a bit less serious with my diet. I had like a protein shake on me, something like that.
Yeah,
In today's time, that would have been probably a meat and rice meal that I ate cold. But back then, it was whey
dude,
protein.
I had to resort to the worst quality food
Oh, I'm
ever. I had
sure.
hospital cafeteria food. Luckily, they like cooked it on the grill and everything, but it was like frozen turkey patties for
Yeah.
their turkey burgers. So I got like three of those, three fries, and I was like, well, I guess we'll consider this a cheat meal. Didn't
Yeah.
taste very good, but it was some calories.
That's another thing too, man. One of the reasons I don't think I've had a cheat meal since the either first week of the push, and I think we'll be 5 weeks on Saturday, or the last week of the cruise. So either 5 or 6 weeks, regardless. I've not had a cheat since then, and my food focus is just at as all time low, basically zero. And a big part of that is because my last few cheat meals I had were just like not great. Like they weren't crazy, but it was just enough of a cheat to be where it's like, okay, this is a deviation from the plan, but not enough to where I actually like enjoyed it. So I was like, I'm just not gonna do this
Yeah, you're
anymore.
like, that was just
Yeah.
like a mediocre meal.
My last
It
cheat
does.
meal.
It kind of honestly
Oh,
helps break that food focus. I think.
yeah, I know exactly what my last cheat meal was. It was the night of your show.
Oh shit, where'd you go?
Logan's. I
Y'all got
had
like steaks, didn't you?
Logan's. Yeah, I had a unseasoned
Yeah,
steak, completely dry, no salt, no butter, no nothing, potato and sweet potato and some rice. That was it.
that's not bad at all.
I wouldn't. I'd
That's
say
not
for
bad.
most people, that's not a cheat meal. But for me, since I didn't
That's a
cook it
clean meal for
myself,
some
yeah,
people.
for me, since I didn't cook it myself and it was a bit more calories than I would normally have in that meal, I consider it a cheat meal. But that was the
Yeah,
last. That was the last one I had, and I'm probably not gonna have another one until the cruise after this growth
there you
phase.
go.
That's just
That's
Joe
awesome, dude.
introduced me to that approach, man, and I really like it because I'll go too hard on the cheat meals in off season. I just will. I'll if I'm supposed to only gain like a pound or 2 pounds a week, something like that. We would have to legit reduce my base diet to like nothing, and then probably all of my calories would just be on those cheat meals on the weekends. I just in
That's
the
where you'd be getting
past,
your stuff.
yeah, and I'm speaking on it from the past, like 2 years ago or so, because it's really been about 2 years since I've um, been in this type of off season, I guess you would say. But yeah, it's a whole thing. But
I would definitely agree with that, man. I've noticed with myself, like the more diligent and dialed I am on the plan, especially like this post show phase, it's just been
mhm,
like easy to stay really focused.
yeah,
That is one thing I will say is eliminated a lot is just knowing exactly what I'm eating next, knowing when, and having it ready. And that helps a lot of just like that wanting to deviate from the plan because you're basically satiated all the time with your
100%.
clean meal anyway. So it's like I'm already
And the
full.
thing
There's
with
really
me
no
is I'm never satiated. I'm always hungry. So it's like if I take a cheat meal, it's not going to really satisfy me. So why waste it? You know.
yeah,
But the reason I think I kind of lost my train of thought while I was talking about this, but I got this approach from working with Joe, and basically he was talking about how he likes to stay pretty committed, not really take cheat meals during prep, obviously, and then also in off-season cycles because you don't really want to waste the cycle, right? And then during a cruise
yeah,
phase, we'll typically do a mini cut or some type of recomp phase, something like that. That's a perfect time to do the cheat meals because you're in a deficit. It's not going to stick to you as hard as it would in a surplus. And, realistically, we're not looking to drop a ton of fat in that phase. So 6 days out of the
yeah,
week and then taking a very reasonable cheat meal once a week, I think is a good idea on a cruise. And, because you're not pushing androgens, you've probably pulled back on training just a little bit during this time, stuff like that. Realistically, you're only going to go in a certain direction so quickly. So I think this can be a good time to do them and it not necessarily affect progress.
yeah. Well, that's kind of the phase that I'm in now, and
Hmm.
I guess you could say I
Yeah.
remember the last pod we had talked. I was talking about totally rebounding and everything.
Yeah.
Then that night I had talked to Andrew,
I saw the
and we
next
were
day.
going back and forth. I was like, yeah, after talking to him, I should probably just go ahead and cruise for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I had somebody in my corner saying that, because
Yeah.
if I'm just doing my own thing, there's really nobody saying, "Hey, man, let's pull back a little bit." I can get gung
Mhm.
ho and just be balls deep in something because I'm kind of on the island by myself in some
Yeah.
situations. Like, hey, if I want to do it, let's go. But he was like, "Dude, just give yourself the time to freshen up." And then not even trying, I'm kind of like maintaining that leanness a little bit.
Hmm.
I've been increasing calories, but the body weight's coming down
Yes.
and maintaining. So or the body composition is kind of maintaining.
Hmm.
Weight's coming down a bit. So I feel like maybe throwing some in there wouldn't hurt because
No.
the scale is kind of trending downward the
Yeah.
past 2 weeks or
I
so.
think if so, for example, after my show, I did a straight rebound like you're talking about. When you do that, I think you do want to push food pretty hard so you truly get the most out of everything. But when you're doing what you did, and that's what I did after my first show, what you're doing right now, I came down to TRT or whatever. Still had growth and stuff like that, but androgens were low or
Mhm.
maybe even out at that time. I don't remember. But if you're doing that, I think the priority then is just staying as lean as possible. Like if you can, honestly, if you can stay. I'd say within like 10 to 15 pounds of what you stepped on stage at, that's a good marker to be at, being that you're doing a cruise right after the show. And you
Yeah,
can probably get away with a bit of a shorter cruise too, like 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how blood work is, something like that. And
yeah.
then once you get out of the cruise phase, you go into that blast, you can just skyrocket progress.
I'm aching for that already, dude. To be honest,
Yeah.
I'm like I'm ready, but I know I need to give
I
myself a
think
little time.
I think 6 is probably good. 6, maybe more, maybe less, just depends. I myself after 6 mentally it gets kind of tough, just for various
Yeah,
reasons.
yeah. I That's kind of what I'm waiting till. I'm waiting till I think the 6 week mark. I'm gonna really just evaluate. I'm getting labs. I'm gonna draw labs probably next week. I was
Okay.
gonna do it this week with the holidays and stuff coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna wait till the beginning of next week, pull a bunch of labs, see what's going on, and then wait till that 6 week mark. If everything looks good on these labs, I'm gonna start then. But if not,
Mm.
probably wait till like the 8 week mark. But I'm honestly, I would be surprised if anything looked bad.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that took a hit was sleep towards the end, and obviously maybe liver enzymes might still be a little elevated and things like that. But
Yeah.
the labs I had pulled in prep were astronomically great. So I was
Okay.
like, this
Nice.
is better than I'd had. Like I've said before, like better than I had had in the previous health phase or at any other point in my journey. And I truly think it was just from getting all that body fat off that I was carrying just that little chub and fluff because I had never been truly
Yeah.
shredded.
Like I said,
And
man, I think I
actually,
mentioned this to you or on a different. I know I definitely mentioned it on a different podcast. If not, I was on over a gram to a gram and a half for 40 weeks because my contest prep was like 22 weeks, and then I rebounded hard for like 16 or so. So like almost 40 weeks. My blood work
Yeah.
before that 40 weeks was probably 75, maybe double, 75%, or maybe even double worse than it was after the 40-week mark, and I got bloods pulled while I was still on a gram of test and 500 mast. My blood work was better, and I was leaner.
That's
That's the
what
only
blew
difference.
my mind. I'm kind of in the same similar boat, like almost the time frame and everything, because I basically was on from February of this year up until Showtime. The other Saturday. That was what 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago or 3 weeks ago
because I started in
Saturday.
January. Yeah,
Um,
so basically almost the same timeline. Yeah,
and yeah, same thing, and it improved. And I honestly think that it's something to do with how dialed you are. You're doing all your cardio. You're freaking dialed as hell on every little aspect of bodybuilding when it comes to your nutrition mainly. I think that's truly the biggest thing.
I think
And
that's
then
my
some of these
biggest strength
peptides that
is,
we're
yeah,
using.
for sure. That's definitely the part of the. So, like, I look at bodybuilding as you have these three pillars, right? You have training, nutrition, and drugs. And if I had to give them order of importance, I would say it's tough between training and nutrition. I think if you asked me a year ago, I would have said nutrition. I think now, knowing what I know and having worked with someone who put my training in a better spot, I would say training is most important, then the diet, then the drugs. So there's a
Yeah,
lot that we can get away with having a really good diet and really good training, and not necessarily needing to push the drugs too much. Like, I'm sure your cruise is still decent. What does your cruise look like right now?
I'm doing 400 tests and then
There you
six
go.
IU's of GH.
There you go. I was gonna
So
say somewhere
feeling
around
great,
like four or five hundred
recovering.
milligrams. Somewhere around like 400 or 500 milligrams, anywhere from 6 to 10 on GH. You can absolutely grow on that, especially in a rebound.
Yeah, I'd agree. And strength and everything is coming back just fine. So I'm like, honestly, I truly feel like you could progress on this. Obviously, I don't want to attempt that right now at this
Yeah.
point in my journey. I mean, I'm still trying to progress in the gym, but I wouldn't be like, let's just see if you can grow on 400 tests,
Oh
how well
no.
you can grow.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it's time to crank, I'm going to. But
Yeah.
during this time, it's interesting to see one, the recovery is really not that bad. Strength is okay. Pumps are all right. So I'm like, man, if you were just an average Joe, you could do a lot with 400 and
For
some
sure.
GH and pretty much just maintain on that and have a great physique.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's more does more, right? It's you can't get around it.
Yeah,
More does more.
absolutely.
And it's funny because I was talking with Steve and Dan about this earlier a bit. I think Saturday will be 5 weeks on the growth phase, and I don't know how long it's going to end up being because they keep pushing back this Raleigh show. It was going to be the 15th of August. Now it's going to be. Then it was going to be the 22nd. Now it's going to be the 29th. So who knows? They may even move it to September for all I know at this point. But the cycle's been the exact same for the past 4 weeks. It's gram of test, 600 EQ, 8 IU growth, 1 megaretta, a little bit of SLU, BPC in the morning, stuff like that. Nothing crazy. That's definitely enough gear to grow, for sure. I think you could
Oh yeah.
probably take a gram of test and 600 of another anabolic, and probably grow on that for the rest of your career. Almost anybody. But at the same time, I know that I can handle more, and I have handled more with good blood work in the past, and with test sip and EQ being a bit longer esters. We're at a little over a month now. I feel like everything is probably peaked or peaking, and I feel good. I'm tolerating everything. Probably time to bump things up a bit, is what I would think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, if you feel great and everything, dude, you're looking great, man.
I
Every time I
appreciate
see
it.
you post an update, I'm like, fuck, this motherfucker's growing like a weed. Like your arms and shoulders and everything. I'm seeing like just that round that you're filling out a
Yeah.
lot, man. Seriously,
And
I'm
it's funny
not blowing smoke.
because I say that I want to go up, but it's like almost should I even? Because I started this cycle at 221 and I'm pretty much 230 on the dot right now. So it's like I've gained almost 10 pounds in 4 weeks on the same dose. So why increase it? And that's a point to have, and I wouldn't be opposed to not increasing. It's just like honestly, I'm 25. I'm young. Digestion is in an awesome spot. Appetite's in an awesome spot. Training is great. Everything is great. But I feel like I can do more. I feel like I can get more out of more right now. So why not do it? You know?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. But then, playing devil's
Yep.
advocate, arguing the other side, like if you are progressing and making 10-pound gains in a month, like should you?
Yeah.
That's the big question because sometimes like more is better until a certain point, and
Exactly.
then there's like diminishing returns. So
Yeah.
finding that like that sweet spot right in there.
Yeah.
But maybe just tinker it up little by
And that's
little
a
and
part of
see.
it too. I kind of know where my sweet spot is, and I really think like 2 grams on the dot pretty much is like just about perfect. You know, like either
Yeah,
14, so either 1400 test, 600 EQ, or a gram of test, a gram of EQ, something like that. Like I feel like that is pretty much perfect. I don't see much of a need for much more than that, and I don't see much of a need for too much less than that, personally.
yeah. That's probably what I'm gonna go up to
Mm.
when I do. So I'm gonna exactly what you said. I would like to try the 1400 and like 600,
Yeah.
but depending on how I'm aromatizing and things like that, I might go to that one and just
Yeah.
stick there, see how
EQ
that goes.
seems to be managing my, which I'm also doing 2 mgs of Arimidex a week. Um, but EQ, it seems to be doing a pretty good job of managing my estrogen. I don't know how much of that is the Arimidex, but yeah, I mean, this is definitely the driest I've ever been on a gram of test.
I was gonna say you look like you're not like watery or anything at all. So
Yeah, and
from
like
what I've seen in
libido's
your
good. Like I probably got a little bit of edema right now in my ankles. Yeah, I mean a little bit, but nothing crazy.
this little sock line, be all
Yeah,
right.
I hold I because I have my step tracker on my ankle, so I moved it to check. It's like I mean maybe like a couple centimeters, nothing crazy, but
Nothing bad. Yeah, that's not terrible.
no, but
What
it's
do you?
hard, right?
How do you
Because
split up your ADEX?
right now I
Do you
do it
just do
twice
like
a
one
week.
and one?
Yeah, twice a week.
Okay.
So Tuesday, basically, it's funny. My check-ins are on Saturday, so I like to make sure I take my index at least a day or two before. So I'll
Yeah.
do a milligram on Tuesday and then a milligram on Friday.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I've done it
I
every
didn't know if you
day.
like microdose that as
I've
well
done
too,
that.
like just chopped it up.
I've done
Yeah.
that. It feels the same. It feels the exact same.
I kind of came to that this prep too. I used to like try to break it down like with exemestane like 6.25 and all
Yeah.
that. And I just started doing like a half Monday, half Friday, or
Well,
a
with
whole Monday and
exemestane, I
Friday.
think it's a shorter half life or clearance time or something like that. Arimidex is very long lasting, so I don't notice a difference splitting it up versus doing it every day, personally.
Gotcha.
With letrozole,
I didn't
though,
know that to be honest with you.
with letrozole, that's something that you definitely want to take more frequently. And partially just because you
Yeah.
don't want to take such a big dose of that at once. Letro is
Dude,
strong
that
as
shit
hell, as
hurts,
you know.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit is not fun.
Nah.
I had never used it until this prep, and I was like, oh man, this is interesting here.
Yeah. I think you had me beat. I think I was doing 2 mgs a day. I think you were doing 2.5, weren't you?
Yeah, I was just the ones I had were dosed at two
Yeah.
and a half. I was just like, I'll just let it
I
rip
had
for the
that
whole one.
shitty liquid, so who knows how much I was actually taking of it. It could have been way more, could have been way less. That's something
Yeah,
I'm never going to use those liquids again. There's just no need for it, but it was just what I had at the
was
time.
it just like the same as like the liquid? Like,
Yeah.
was it like a dripper thing or
Yep.
whatever?
Yep.
Okay, okay.
Not
I didn't know if
injectable.
you were like injecting it or what. I
Yeah.
was like, damn, I hadn't seen that.
No, I'm sure they make that though. I'm
Oh,
dead sure they make that.
it's got to be out there somewhere. Somebody's tried it.
Oh yeah, and I've heard stories of the old heads doing like injectable Lasix and shit. Man, that's just wild to me.
Yeah,
It's
dude. I was talking
crazy.
to the gym I trained at today. I was talking to the owner. He's competed and won some shows and stuff, and
Nice.
he was asking me a little bit about that, like diuretics and stuff.
Yeah.
And he told me that's what he used to. He tried that his first couple shows, and he was like,
First
"Man,
couple of shows.
once
What
I
the fuck?
found Diazide, he was like, I'd never touch the Lasix again because
Yeah.
Diazide, he was like, you can actually control that. The Lasix
Yeah.
will get away from you a little bit."
Yeah, for sure. And people, honestly, when it comes to reliability, I've never used it just because I don't like on paper how it is technically an anti-androgen. But people say that aldactone is super reliable.
I've heard that too. I'm just like not knowledgeable on it, so I don't. I'm nervous to
Yeah.
experiment with it. Like I would want
I
somebody
mean,
to
Chris
do it
Aceto
there.
likes
What
it.
is it? These guys all look freaking awesome.
So clearly, it
They're
can't
all
be
dry
that
as
much of an
hell.
anti-estrogen, and it's probably like a deck chair on the Titanic, right? Like you adding a deck chair on top of the Titanic ain't making it sink no quicker. That's an old Justin Harris
Yeah,
quote I hear all the time. But
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm sure like an anti-androgen is it's probably only going to reduce your endogenous production, which we're already doing through supplementation, anyways.
Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting one that I have not been tempted to buy it, and then I'm like, I'd like to get some like more
Yeah.
knowledge on it before I even am tempted to try it. It's just potassium sparing, essentially, right?
I'm not again like you said. I've not used it, so I haven't really looked into it too much. But I believe so. I believe it is. it acts in a similar pathway to Lasix, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of like how it affects potassium and stuff. But I do know people typically take it for a much longer period of time. So to me, that tells
Yeah.
me that it's probably needing to build up in the system. So
Hmm.
I guess that could be part of the reason why it's more reliable, because it's not having as much of an acute effect as something like a Lasix.
Yeah. Yeah. My only the only thing that concerned me with ever trying it, and obviously there's people that are know exactly what they're doing. They're probably like this
Mm.
guy's an idiot. But was basically it blocks the angiotensin
Yep.
aldosterone system, and then that can affect how you're actually absorbing the sodium back when you're
Yep.
trying to carb up. So I was like that until I knew more about it. Yeah, I'd be nervous like
Yeah.
peaking and stuff like that with that.
Yeah. I think it
But
probably
the
makes you
people that
less
use it, they look
sensitive.
great.
Yeah, I think it probably makes you less sensitive to sodium because it seems that most guys who will do the aldectone thing typically shitload.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like they're the ones that are always on the burgers,
Yep. Yep. So
or
it,
the
it's
coaches
definitely got
that
to
are
have
well
either
known
a way
about.
less or a way more harsh effect on sodium somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that stuff's above my pay grade. I personally, I don't
me
love
too.
using diuretic. I've used, I think I didn't, I don't think I used any diuretics at this last show, but I used like a quarter of a hydrochlorothiazide at my first show. And it's hard to say what it was doing because I also had my water cut for like a day. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Didn't feel good though. That's for
yeah.
sure.
That's the only one I feel confident with like tampering around with, to be honest. At this point in the career, in the journey,
Yeah. I think most people just don't need them either.
yeah, you really don't, man. Especially if you water taper and you're
Yeah.
smart with your sodium. This that this last peak taught me so much on that. Like I could have probably not used the diuretic, cut my sodium way down, not did a sodium cut, but just not had my sodium set so high going into
Yeah.
peak week. And I probably would have been just as dry because I actually had my sodium intake so high. I think I blocked the diuretic from working fully anyway. So it was like it was just kind of in there from because dude, I took a half one. I wasn't even flushing any water or anything. Like wasn't peeing.
Was it a hydrochlorothiazide specifically?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're very weak, and I can say that now that I've had off season experience with it as a blood pressure management tool and like a HGH water retention tool. But I didn't use that much in an off season or in a contest prep. Contest prep, like I said, I think it was like a quarter or something. But in the off season, I got up to I think it was 25 milligrams, which is a whole tablet. I would split
Hmm.
it. I would split it AM and PM, and it made me pee a lot. But at the same time, I don't really feel like it affected my look that much. Like in actual weight, 2, 3 pounds, something like that.
So it wasn't having that like stage of like that effect you want before stage where you're just
No,
like
not for me at least.
skinless
Not for
after the
me.
night. That's probably why I had to turn it up. So I was kind of getting nervous. I was like, damn, last time I took a half one and I was peeing like crazy. So I went ahead and woke up in the middle of the night and the other half, and then that kind of got things going.
Yeah.
So I ended up using a whole 25 milligrams.
And with
But
how big you are, I don't think that's that crazy, man. Like it, I think it's all things considered relatively safe for a diuretic, and it's
yeah,
definitely relatively mild when you compare it to other diuretics. So I don't think that's a
yeah, and
problem.
I didn't realize how readily like or how easily that's prescribed for
Yeah,
blood pressure as well. Because you told me that, and then actually today while we were at the gym, I was training with my father-in-law, and he told me that that's what he takes for his blood
yeah.
pressure. I was like,
My
dude,
wife was prescribed it.
I didn't even know.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's
we
awesome.
have this kind of fear stigma around diuretics, but like they're prescribed for a reason. It's different.
Yeah,
You don't want to be taking 25 milligrams of hydrochlorothiazide every day when you're in a contest prep and you're depleting yourself and you're in a calorie deficit and you're putting your kidneys under stress, things like that. But if you're in an off season, I assure you, if a hydrochlorothiazide is going to take your blood pressure from let's say a 140 over 90 down to the normal range, your kidneys are actually going to be healthier, not worse off because of that. Maybe there's a
not
little
under
bit of
that.
acute damage. I don't even think so though. Like they're prescribed for a reason.
Yeah, and honestly, that like you said, that blood pressure sitting
Yeah,
higher is probably more, having a bigger effect on the
for
kidney
sure.
health versus just a simple hydrochlorothiazide.
Yeah. And that being said, I was taking that of my own volition. My doctor was okay with it and everything. But I think I stayed on it for a little bit with Perch when I switched to his coaching, but we eventually did pull that. So now I'm doing no hydrochlorothiazide. I'm just doing 80 of telmisartan. And I legitimately, I don't know if you were taking telmisartan during your prep or during your peak week, but dude, it
Yeah.
has way more of a diuretic effect on me than hydrochlorothiazide did, and I pee less. I don't know how that makes sense, but I'm not waking up at night to pee nearly as much, and I'm drier. So,
So, but when you do go pee, it's like a bigger flush
oh, dude,
versus just like more frequent.
my wife makes fun of me. Like, so this is our game room right here. We'll be playing something on the computer or whatever, and I'll get up to go use the bathroom, and the bathroom's right over there. Everybody we're in the call with or her, 2 minutes, I'll be pissing.
Yeah,
Like,
heavy
it's
stream.
crazy.
I've
Yeah,
noticed that as well with that. Like I didn't know this. You're supposed to probably take that before bed, aren't
I
you?
do.
Tell them to start.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, I've always taken mine in the morning just for the past 3 years. So I was like, well, fuck, it's worked this long. But I noticed as soon as I take it in the morning, it's like probably an hour later, I'll go pee and do the amount is insane. It's like one pee, but it's just like
Yeah.
that's got to be a half a gallon at least at once coming out. It's crazy.
It could be.
It feels that way anyway.
But yeah, that's the thing though. I don't wake up a lot. I with hydrochlorothiazide, taking it in the morning and then taking it at, let's say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then going to bed around like 9 o'clock. I'll still wake up 5, 6, 7 times to pee on the hydrochlorothiazide, even with it being pretty far away from bed. And I would cut my water at like 3 o'clock. With the telmisartan, I'll take that right before bed. I'll drink whatever straight up into bed. I wake up maybe once or twice a night. That's it.
That's all right right there. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to switch mine around, start taking it at
Try it
night.
out. Yeah, try it out.
Well, I might try that because I've seen so many people recommend it that way. As I've done more research and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I'm like, man, I always just took it in the morning with all the other stuff. So
When do you take
might try
your
that out.
when do you take your thyroid?
I take that like I wake up at like 3:30 in the morning to
Hmm.
piss most of the time, like
Oh,
pretty
you
much
told
like
me this.
clockwork,
Yeah,
and I take
I
it.
remember. Yeah.
I was trying to do just as I went into this health phase, I was trying to do my GH then too, but it's
Hmm.
a pain in the ass to fucking walk in the kitchen, walk all the way down the hallway while going to sleep, draw up a shot. So I've just been doing that
Yeah.
before bed again too. I did it a couple nights. I brought a little cooler in here in
Yeah.
the room and then like had my shot ready so I could wake up and do it. I was like, I'm not gonna do that every fucking night. Bring the cooler
Yeah.
in here with ice and all that shit. So it's just a pre-bed thing again for that. But
Yeah.
the thyroid's easy to leave it by the bedside
Yeah,
and
I'll just take the
wake up
thyroid
before.
before bed too. I'd be too worried that I would, for the first time in my life, not wake up at least once to pee, and then somehow I'd miss a dose. Right? With my luck, that would happen.
Yeah,
So I just take it before bed.
yeah. That's whatever. I feel like as long whatever's going to help you not miss it,
Yeah,
that's going to be the best.
and I think you're not supposed to take it around caffeine whatsoever, right? So that's why I do it
Yeah,
before bed.
that's my big thing for taking it like at the in the when I wake up that one time. So I'm like that way. If I want to have my coffee as soon as I get up after or whatever,
Yeah.
first thing in the morning, there's not like a window I'm having to.
Yeah, and I even will probably have a good hour or so in between waking up, doing my cardio, everything like that, and then actually like eating breakfast and having my coffee with that. But just in case, I'll just take my thyroid before bed, you know?
Yeah,
And then also, I
that's
can kind
awesome.
of stay in that habit, right? Because I'm sure when contest prep comes around or whatever, I'll probably be taking some caffeine with my fasted cardio. So that way I can just go ahead and get to the habit of taking my
Yeah,
T4 before bed.
definitely. Dude, you've been absolutely crushing this YouTube, man.
I'm trying. I'm
Honestly.
trying. I'm trying to improve. I think that the overall formula for these, I think this is down. From here, it's just upgrading the camera, upgrading the mic, continuing to schedule stuff like that. But I've got a lot of work to do on the vlogs. The vlogs are tough.
It really is, man. It
They're
really is.
super tough.
Uh, Especially just the editing and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
perfecting that side of things and sound and all that. That's been my big thing. All the gyms I train at, they got the music blasted, and I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I have to get mics so that I'm not doing voiceover videos.
Yeah. Yeah, mics are definitely good. I've got that cheap one that I was using when I talked to you at the show. I'm looking to probably get a bit of a better one. If you go to Think Big Bodybuilding, Scott McNally actually just dropped a podcast today, and he was talking to Ed, the dude who owned Gold's Gym forever.
Ed Connors,
Connors, yes,
the
Ed Connors, that's
bodybuilder.
right. Yeah, and in the middle of it, he had an ad for this podcast mic, and he was talking into it, and it sounded just as good as his regular mic. It turns out it's wireless, and it can be used on both your desktop and also your phone. It's like $100 or something. Actually, it's like $80 right
Nice.
now, Black Friday. So I would definitely get that. I'll send you the link for that after if you'll remind me.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
And you
probably gonna
said
get
it's
that
you can
myself.
Bluetooth it right to the phone
Yeah.
and shit.
Yep.
That's
So
sweet.
basically, you'll it'll have a plug like this. You plug that into the phone, and then it will pick it up. Same way how the cheap one I have it has that same system.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the route I definitely need to take with
Yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah. So that's on sale right now. I think it's normally like $120. It's on sale for like $80, something like that. I should probably pick it up
That's not
myself. But speaking of deals, anything that you've caught your eye with for Black Friday? Because I know a lot of people will stock up on like protein powder, supplements, stuff like that during this time of year.
Four is doing Four Nutritionals, the supplement company that I'm with.
Uh huh.
They are doing a ton of Black Friday stuff, and they are in the running for the protein wars as
Yeah.
well. We're in second place right now. Rise is currently number one, and then Four is right below them for
Nice.
the Black Week Protein Wars. I think it's called.
Yeah.
I'm kind of new to all this. Like I'm just getting
I
filled in
was,
on
I was about
this
to
week
ask.
actually. So.
I was about to ask. Did you get with them after like the show because you saw them there and stuff?
Yeah, actually, I talked to the guy that was running the booth as the athlete's manager or
Nice.
rep or whatever the title is.
Yeah.
JD, he's super cool. He competes and stuff as well himself. And I had reached out for an affiliate program, like the code, and then he actually personally emailed me separately. So I guess he somehow saw it and was like, "Hey, man, I've already spoken to you. We talked at the show. I'm the guy you were talking to at the booth." So that was super cool. So
Nice.
they sent me a package out yesterday or 2 days ago. Should be here. Well, it probably won't show up tomorrow, so maybe
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
It should be here. So he said he sent me like a package of all kinds of stuff. We'll see what they sent out. So I'm pumped to
Nice.
be with them, man. That was a cool opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're also doing a Black Friday with Granite. I don't think it's live right this second, or at least it's not like fully rolled out or something like that. But yeah, definitely this is a good time of year to stock up on everything. I
Yeah,
would, in the past, shit, I'd probably buy 20, 30 pounds of protein powder during this time of year.
stocked up, ready.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
another thing too,
that's perfect.
I don't know what your situation is, but being heavier and stuff, I would assume you probably have a similar issue. But my feet have always been pretty bad, and they're flat as hell. So I actually kind of splurged a bit. I'm normally the type of guy I like to buy $30 pair of shoes because my feet
Yep.
are kind of flat and I'll drag them, stuff like that. I got a habit of burning holes through shoes. Like I literally I was cleaning off my Pumas that I'm wearing right now. I somehow have worn a hole through my where my heel is, almost all the way down into the actual bottom of the shoe, not the sole.
Holy
I've
shit!
had these shoes for less than a month.
Just where the way your walking pattern, like the way
Yep.
your feet drag and stuff.
Super heavy on
That's
my heels.
crazy.
So for that reason, I don't typically splurge and buy super expensive shoes, which for me is anything over $40. But I decided to splurge, and I saw they had a pair of Brooks on sale that were normally running for about 150. I got them on sale for about $100. So I'm looking forward to those.
Dude, I've heard such good things about those, the
Yeah,
Brooks. Yeah, my mom's a big fan of those actually. She's does a lot of cardio and stuff like that and
yeah.
a lot of walking
I'm on my feet
and
all
she
day,
loves
dude.
those things.
Yeah, I'm on my
Yeah.
feet all day, man. My average steps are like 17, 18,000 over the course of a week.
I'm luckily the past 2 weeks mine's been down like 9K,
Yeah,
but normally when we're cranking like with the pipeline and stuff, dude,
yeah.
I'm right there with you, like
I can imagine.
15, 18.
But with me,
Because
I don't have a manual job. That's the thing. Like, I
yeah, what are you doing walking around so much? What the
that's
hell?
like
I
so.
didn't even
It's
think about
literally it's just my 10-minute walks. I mean, think about it.
it. Okay.
I have 7 meals. Maybe subtract one because I'm not going to do a 10-minute walk after my pre-workout meal. But that's 6 times that I'm walking for 10 minutes. That's like 6,000 steps by itself.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And then
Yeah.
walking to the car, anything
Yeah.
else, you're at 10K.
And then on
Like
top of
nothing.
that,
Not even counting the gym.
yeah, that's what I was about to get to. On top of that, just I have to constantly, I think I did it probably 10 times a day. Just one circle around the gym, make sure all the wipes are good, make sure all the spray bottles are out, trash picked up, stuff like that. Yeah, I'll easily, I mean, some days I'll get 21K.
That's crazy.
And that's not counting my cardio in the morning, by the way, which is just
Your
25.
food is probably flowing through. I mean, you
Oh, yeah.
probably don't even like. You can probably eat a whole
Dude,
meal and don't even feel
before I
food.
got on this
It feels like
podcast,
an empty stomach.
yeah, before I got on this podcast, I think my blood sugar was like 60 something. It's just ready to eat. And I ate at 4:30. And we got on at around
Awesome.
5:30. So yeah, it's like an hour later.
That's awesome right there. That's putting you. You're utilizing everything at
Yeah.
that point.
I hope
Sure.
it gets me a little food bump this weekend, but nah. I like I said, I'm literally always hungry, so it's like I got to get into that mind state of where it's like I don't care where my food is at. You know, this is more than enough food to grow. If it gets bumped,
Yeah,
awesome. If it doesn't,
I'd say it's probably going to get bumped.
probably. But I'm eating
You're in the
I'm eating
you're in the
over
get
5,500 calories, so it's not like I'm eating on poverty food.
Dude, you're a fucking horse, man. That's awesome.
Well, to me, it's
I
like
got to get there, dude.
not that long ago on the last push before the cruise, I was up to like 6.5. So I
I
can throw
remember
it
you were
out.
telling me that one time. I was like, dude, I don't know
Yeah,
how you
I think that was
how
too
you
much.
stomaching all that.
That was too much food for me, though. Not appetite wise. Appetite wise, I could have ate more than that, to be honest with you. But I do think I was starting to get a little soft, a little too soft doing that.
Yeah.
That's most likely
What'd you say the
why.
weight? What's your weight get up to that push up that you said?
237.8, and by the end of the mini cut on the cruise, I was down to 221. Now I'm back
Gotcha.
up to 229.8, I think, or 6, something like that.
And your body composition is
Way
probably
better.
light years ahead of the
Yeah,
last
way
one.
better. And it was honestly just a lot of water. At 237, I probably had it. I mean, honestly, that whole 7.8 was probably all water from Lantis specifically.
Yeah.
I thought it was the growth that was making me hold all that water. Nah, it was the Lantis.
Nah, you can stay dry with the growth,
Yeah.
man, I think.
Well, it has
As
been
long
my
as, like,
first exposure to growth. I hadn't really ever used any respectable amount of it before this offseason. And Lantis was in play off the bat at the same time, basically. So they both went in. But then one
Yeah.
came out and one didn't. So that's when I could actually take the time to compare and contrast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how that goes, man, with the insulin. It's like it's great until you're like, I'm a little too soft now.
Yeah.
Let's pull it out.
But
Let's scale
man,
things back.
the pumps in the gym were just
I know,
stupid.
dude.
Stupid.
It's
Like
like
I'm getting
skin
great
splitting.
pumps right now. The gym is going great. I'm getting stronger every week. Pumps are awesome. But it just doesn't feel like I'm full blown. Do you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
comparison.
Yeah, it's like where you can't like you do one set, like a couple movements. You might not even have your working
Yeah.
weight on there, and you're just like, oh fuck, everything's coming to life immediately.
It's
That's the
almost
best
too
feeling.
much. It's almost too much.
Yeah,
I like that. It's a good feeling. And like gear wise things are basically the same. At the end of last push, I was on 1,000 tests and 500 mast with 8 units of growth. Now I'm on 1,000 tests with 600 EQ and 8 IUs of growth, same amount. And I'd argue not only am I taking more EQ, but I'd argue EQ is actually stronger than master on point blank. So this should be more. I should feel more full blown. But the only thing that's different is I'm not taking any insulin. So it's just the insulin pumps.
Might be that missing little piece.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, then that gets into conversation of, do we look at insulin as a tool for driving growth, or do we look at it as a primary tool for controlling blood glucose? Then, the other things kind of fall into place. So it just depends on how you look at it, I guess. I've done both approaches.
Yeah, I would think now, because I think when I first got into it, I was probably at a body composition that had no business using it when I first learned all about it, experimented with it.
Same, yeah.
But now being leaner, sprinkling it in here and there, I think if you timed everything right and used it infrequently, I'll say, I think it could definitely be used for like a growth tool.
And the thing is, I'm only training 4 days a week right now, so I feel like even if I used it every training day, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I think you could definitely get away with that because then you're kind of your other days your steps are still high, and you're essentially like
Yeah.
resensitizing. Food's probably a little lower, I'm sure, on your
Food's a lot
days.
lower on rest
So
days actually. So how I was just mentioning blood sugar and everything. My fasted blood sugars had creeped up a
yeah,
bit. Postprandials had creeped up. I think I saw a fasted reading of like 121. I was seeing postprandials of like 140 2 hours after meals. But like an hour after meal, I'd see like 190, 180, something like that. So as a consequence, we basically just cut carbs from rice sources at least in half on rest days. So I think my training days are like
nice.
close to 700 grams of carbs on training days, and I think on rest days they're like I want to say 250, maybe 300. So
Nice.
it's a big
Okay.
drop.
Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of in the same carbohydrate intake right now, almost essentially. Um, because I was doing that straight through approach. I told you just rest
Yeah,
days were the same too.
I love
But
that approach. I love that approach, but I
I noticed
just
I
don't
was
think
looking
it's
a
for me.
little soft.
Yeah, man,
I don't think it's for me either.
I
I
love it
felt
though.
great because I was like I feel like I was soaking everything up on those days. Training was feeling really good. But I was like, man, I'm holding a little bit too much water for my
Mm,
liking when I'm doing it that way. So I
100%.
started just pulling carbs down on that day to like, I think I'm at 400 on rest
Yeah,
days.
and what we were doing before that is carbs were basically the same on both days, except my entire post workout meal was pulled, and obviously my intra workout shake. So I mean that's 140 grams of cream of rice, 70 grams of banana, 100 grams of pineapple, 25 grams of honey. It's a lot of carbs just from that one
Yeah,
meal. So we were pulling that in the intra, and now we're still doing that, but then we're also cutting all the rice in half and the cream of rice in the morning, stuff like that. Um, I really like that approach of keeping the diet the same, but just removing the post workout meal and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of drop in carbs, but not much. But unfortunately, at least for where I'm at right now, I just don't think that's the best approach for me. I'll get too watery, like you said. Insulin
yeah,
sensitivity starts to go down the drain. Like that reading that I got that was 121 was after a rest day where carbs were lower. So
that's crazy.
yeah, but then made that change, and almost immediately I'm waking up between today. Today was actually the highest number I had saw in a while, and it was 89.
That's freaking
Yeah,
bang on, man. That's awesome.
I was
That's
seeing
crazy too.
70s.
You made that change and like immediately responded. So you know your
Yeah,
body's in a great spot, just responding well to all the food and stuff.
yeah, for sure. And weight's kind of sticking
Awesome.
around the same. Went up a little bit yesterday, but before that, I think I had held the same for like 2 or 3 days.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's steady
Nice.
progress. It's steady progress and it's good progress, but we always want to be doing as much as we can. So
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, I'm getting so eager and just like my wheels are turning for all the what I might want to try, what I need to
yeah.
do, all that stuff for the growth phase. It's never ending, man. We love this shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Have you kind of mapped out like how your training is going to change, if at all? Diet, PDs, everything. What does everything look like? Because I'm sure you've been thinking about it, like you said.
Dude, so the training for sure, that's been my biggest like focus the past couple weeks is kind of figuring out how to pair everything because I'm trying to make that back day essentially a posterior hamstring day. So that's been like I've been really racking my brain on where to place it, how much volume I can do to still recover and have good leg sessions when I'm doing my like squatting pattern leg day and stuff like that. And I think I'm in a good spot, man. The way I'm doing it. So today I had my hinging day. Essentially, I started out with 3 sets of lying leg curls, and then I went straight to stiff leg deadlifts. I did what did I do there? I did 2 sets all out on stiff legs. Then I
Nice.
went to deadlifts and I did 2 all out sets with deadlifts. And then I did pull downs, pullovers, seated cables, and then they had the old Cybex. I forgot what it's exactly called. It's basically like a vertical row. You're just pulling. You can do the neutral grip or the overhand, so it's almost like a T-bar
Yeah,
row.
I know what you're talking about. It's
One of the
like
old
kind of
school
chest
systems.
supported, kind of not. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I did that with a neutral grip, and I think I did like 4 sets there. So 2 sets on the pull downs, 3 sets on pullovers, 3 sets on that Cybex row what else did I do?
Hmm.
Oh, and then two sets of seated cables and adductors, abductors, and
Wow,
then
that's a
leg
lot.
extensions as well.
That sounds like one
It's
of my
kind of a
old
lot.
workouts.
It's kind of a lot, but it's basically a leg day, and then I'm throwing in some back day, like a
Yeah.
couple back movements. So it's basically a ham
Yeah.
day, and then throwing in a little back on there.
I'm gonna list off my old pull and leg day just because like what you said is a lot, but I can assure the audience I've done way more, and it's not a good idea what I did. I would do now the order may be a little off here, but for the most part, I think I would do a hamstring curl, or no, I would do abduction, then adduction, then a hamstring curl, then a leg extension. Actually, then I would do another hamstring curl. Then I would do or basically there would be three hamstring curls in there because I would want to hit every angle, right? Stupid. I would do lying, seated, and standing at some point weaved in through there, right? Then I would also do maybe a couple sets on the leg press. And by the way, everything else I just listed at least three sets, maybe four. Something on the leg press, maybe definitely RDLs. Then I would do so that's just kind of the leg stuff, right? And then after that,
Yeah.
I would definitely do pull downs, cable rows, bent rows, dumbbell rows, maybe a high, yeah, definitely a high row as well. All of those minimum two or three sets. This
Oh
was a
my God.
40, this is like a
That's a lot.
40 set workout. That's how my training used to look.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is
Now this
definitely
is
a
my
lot.
current back day. Hip thrusts on a Smith machine, dumbbell chest supported row, upper back pull down, single arm cable row, single arm lat row. That's it for back. And then I do rear delts, biceps. One exercise each. That's it.
Nice. That's not bad right there.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm not saying you're doing that amount of volume, but that's definitely that's a lot of volume for sure,
I
and a lot of
think
exercises as well.
it got like it definitely gets a little high on this day in particular. I think because I'm trying to throw the back stuff in there, like the leg stuff. It doesn't. I don't feel over like I'm overdoing any one area. Like
Yep.
I'm recovering well, but it turns into a bunch of working sets because like I'm I'm essentially trying to not have a direct back day
Yeah.
and trying to, dude. I need
Oh, so that's
hands
your
bad.
that's
I've
your
looked
only
at my
back day.
yeah, that's my only back day
Okay.
of the
So
week.
here's the thing. I was doing all
So I'm
that, and
like,
then I was also having a second back day with just as many or more working sets.
oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think I would recover.
No. Okay. So yeah, if you only
I
have
just
one back,
can't.
like yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting pretty good stimulus too out of the RDLs and the
Oh, for sure.
deadlifts as well in the back. So it's like it's getting some there, and then I'm just kind of trying to make sure I'm hitting all the other angles a
Yeah.
little bit, and then trying to get more. As basically, I'm on a wellness program right now. Essentially, I'm trying to hit legs as much as I can.
Yeah. I think the only
I'm trying to
thing
like,
Yeah, the only thing like from a programming perspective that I would maybe look out for there is the SLDs and also the regular deadlifts. That may be something you got to keep an eye on in the future. Like as the off season goes on, as you get stronger, as you're moving more weight, stuff like that, it could begin to tax your CNS just a bit too much. With me, deadlifts fuck me up bad.
oh, I noticed that today. The CNS, it was zapped after. Yeah, let's see, I did 2 and 2, and I mean I was doing max effort for sure
Yeah.
on both both sets. And by the probably fifth or sixth rep on that last set of deadlifts, dude, my whole body was just like convulsing, shaking. I was like, yeah, I'm already zapped, and we're 3 movements into the
Yeah.
workout.
Yeah. I've got a
So
rest
I'm gonna
day.
have to definitely figure that out for sure on that
I've
this
got a
week.
rest day before and after my leg day. Uh, that workout you just listed, I would definitely want a rest day. If not before, definitely after.
Definitely, yeah. I think I'm gonna go hit a little chest and shoulders in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Chest, shoulders, maybe a little bit of biceps in there.
Yeah.
Um, just for that get that Thanksgiving food nice and
Oh yeah, for sure.
get it
I
where it
have I
needs to
have
be.
arms and shoulders tomorrow. If I was eating off plan, I would want it to be a leg day or something like that.
Yeah,
But honestly, I don't even think that the day of would have as much of an impact as the day after. I would want to make sure I'd actually probably train like back the day of, and then I would train legs the day of, or the day after rather.
that's what I'm aiming for. I want to do chest and shoulders tomorrow, and then the day after, I'd like to go hit my leg day A essentially, like my
Oh yeah.
squatting day and all that good stuff.
That'll be good. It'll also give you a little incentive to not go too off the rails, right? And mess up your stomach too bad, because then you're like, it's going to affect my leg day.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're all full of food and like, especially when it's shitty food, like if you're full of clean food, you know it's going to flow through good.
Yeah.
But something about just having like that high fat content, you still
Yeah.
feel like shit the next day. You're like,
Yeah, dude.
fuck this.
I don't know how I used to eat so much fat as a kid, man. I don't know how I did
Dude,
it.
isn't it mind blowing now that you're aware of what you're like? You're fully aware of like
Yeah.
you can't look at food and not break down the macros in your head. And when
Bro,
you think back to what you ate as a kid, it's like, how am I not 700 pounds still?
dude, I was fat all my life too, so there's that. But let's just say I love peanut butter. I definitely was not only having it once a day, minimum twice a day I was having peanut butter. And I assure you, there was not a single time that I was eating peanut butter that at least 50 grams was not going in my mouth. For sure.
God. Yeah, and you're not weighing it back then. You're just getting a
No.
spoon.
Oh, yeah. Easily two big
Slapping it
tablespoons.
on a sandwich.
Probably closer to like
Yeah.
65 grams, twice a day. Like 120 grams of peanut butter. I don't even know how much fat that is. That's insane. And every other meal probably had fat in it on top of that. Because I was probably doing chicken thigh instead of chicken breast. And I'm sure I was adding olive oil. Like just dumb.
Dude, my thing was cheese as a kid. Every
That too.
freaking
Love
thing
cheese.
that I ate, I put cheese on everything, and I'm like,
Same.
I think I actually forced myself to be lactose intolerant
Same.
from eating so much freaking cheese as a kid.
And
now
milk.
I can't even look at cheese. Same milk, drank like whole milk like it was
Yep.
water.
Peanut butter and jelly
cheese.
sandwich with a 16-ounce glass of whole milk. Yep, that's right.
Dang, that actually sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty tasty right now. But yeah, dude, I was the same way. It's like, how did we survive, man?
I don't know, man. I'm really lucky that I wasn't 300 pounds at 12 instead of 200. Like it's crazy.
I was 12. Right there with you. I was probably close to 200 pounds, just like 12, 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Freaking
when I was like 14, it was like 14, not 12. Right before I went into high school, I remember I was either 205 or 225, and I am sure I was 40% body fat because I was on a computer all day, no activity whatsoever, homeschooled, like Doritos, peanut butter and jelly, Red Baron pizza, cheese, cookies, Oreos. That was my diet.
Dude, you were living the childhood dream.
No meat was consumed. I was like almost vegetarian as a kid, except instead of vegetables, I was eating junk.
Yep. Did you eat a lot of cereal too?
Yes, a lot of cereal. Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Reese's Puffs, stuff like that. Yeah.
That was my big thing too. Like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some days I might eat a giant just trough of whatever cheap bagged cereal my parents would get from the grocery store, because we'd always get like the off-brand Cocoa Pebbles, all that stuff. So you get that huge value bag. So I might eat 250 grams of cereal.
It's so funny that we're about the
800 carbs or something.
It's so funny that we're talking about cereal because I started Joe Perch, my coach's podcast that he just put out today. I started that, and in the title, it's one of the topics is cereal for gains or something like that, and we're about to talk about, because I want to go into this a bit. My last off season, I don't think I'll ever do this Perch again, but my last off season, I was doing like a big bowl of cereal. I want to say at least like 150 grams of weight in cereal post-workout on once or twice a week after legs. Have you ever done anything like that before?
I did the same thing in this in my like bridge between shows when I had some time to make a little bit of improvements. I was doing the same thing. I would do like 150, some days 200 grams of Fruity Pebbles or rice checks.
I stuck to mostly rice-based.
Cornflakes. Yeah, for sure. The rice-based is the way to go. Because I try like cornflakes, that sits on your stomach pretty heavy.
Yeah,
got a little bit of fiber and stuff in there, a little bit of fat. So,
and then all the other ones are too fatty. They've got too much fat in them.
Yeah, for sure. But those two, and then I would use lactose-free, fat-free milk in there, so you're getting a little bit of just straight protein.
I'd use almond milk,
and
probably.
a little bit of insulin. I did that well sometimes.
Bro, how I was mentioning earlier, like I've done both approaches with insulin. I've used it as a blood sugar management tool, and I've used it as an anabolic. When I say I used the fuck out of some insulin, I did. Like this is my first off season really doing like high growth. The insulin came before that. Atlantis wise, I'm on a leg day last off season. I think I was doing as much as like 50 units in the morning. But here's the kicker. That was just my baseline. Pre-workout, 20 units. Post-workout, 20 units. Maybe 2 meals later, 20 units. And that would be faster acting insulin, obviously. Like I went hard
Yeah.
in the paint on insulin. I don't know why. I think I was really big into Justin Harris and the whole carb cycling thing. So I would have those leg days be like 300 grams of protein because I would reduce the protein a bit, like 1,200, 1,500 grams of carbs, and then like as close to zero fat as I could do.
Yeah. Yeah. I've tried that as well. And kind of inspired by the same person as well, to
Yeah.
be honest. Hearing some of what he did and took a little bit of like, I got some of Milos's plans and stuff that I've
Yeah.
read through and how he did things and kind of like married the two somewhat and may put my own spin on it, I guess, because I
Yeah.
was doing something similar. Like I would be 20 units pre with a pretty hefty meal, then I'd have like my intro drink, and then I would do 20 units post, 25 sometimes
Yeah. Same.
with that big crazy cereal meal.
Yep.
Um, but the Lantis, I never really pushed the Lantis up higher. I would always just do that, like maybe 10 to 20 units of that, and then supplement everything else with the faster acting. But
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea with a little bit higher Lantis. That
Yeah.
might be a
And
good
I've
idea.
heard people go stupid on Atlantis. Like, you know who John O'Regan is or was? He passed up not too long ago, I believe. He was
Yeah.
an old school bodybuilding coach.
Well,
And I remember hearing stories of him having guys do what was it, like 100 units. I want to say I've heard as high as 300 units, like a whole pan.
I've heard of that. People using a
Yeah,
whole pen a day.
that's
I've heard of
insane.
that before.
That's insane.
Dude, you want to hear the craziest shit I've heard here lately, protocol wise? Did you watch that video that Larry Wheels posted with
Yeah.
that guy, that German bodybuilder that's like
Urs?
320 or
Oh,
something?
never mind.
No, he just won a pro show. He beat damn. It wasn't Prague. It was before Prague. He's a
Romania?
newer up and coming. Huh?
Was it the Romania show?
Might have been Romania. He won it. A big, huge white guy. He's like 6'2", 320 something.
Oh,
He just
I don't recall a guy like that winning a show.
he honestly had
Hmm.
not the prettiest physique, but he was so massive, dude. They had to give it to him. He's so
Wait, are you
massive.
talking
So
about
cool.
Krizzo?
Not Crizzo. He almost kind of he reminds me of Crizzo. He's bigger than Crizzo.
Huh. I gotta look
I
this guy up
forgot
then.
his name. Go on Larry Wheels' channel. He just put a video up, and in the title it says 100 IU's of GH. This
The
bastard was running 100 units of growth a day.
what the fuck?
Yes, I was like, how were you even
I've
functioning?
heard of 50, and I thought that was just absolutely retarded.
The
What?
craziest I'd heard before that was like the 36 units because they're making those
Yeah,
36 unit files. So I was like, that's understandable.
that
He's
was the most
big growth.
common one I'd heard. Oh, this guy, he's Russian. That's why I didn't.
Russian, okay.
Yeah. His name's like Sergey or Sergov or something like that.
That's it.
Okay,
Dude,
they don't have his name here.
he's freaking huge.
100 IU per. Jesus Christ! First of all, even if you're getting this shit at like $1, okay, let's be extreme. Let's say you're getting this shit at a $0.50 a unit. That's still like
That's
fifty
50 a
dollars
day
a
in growth.
day. Who the fuck has money for this?
It's insane.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
even
so
think
that's
I think
350 a
that's
week if
honestly
you're being generous.
that's got to be a little exaggerated. There must be a language misconception or something.
That's what I started thinking. I was like, all right, are you actually serious? Like,
Yeah,
where is this going? How are you not? How is this not making causing issues?
dude.
But
That
apparently
yeah,
the dude's only like 25 years old. I thought he was in his like later 30s. No shade on him. He
yeah.
looks awesome. Much love to you, Sergey, if you ever see this. But yeah, dude, he looked a lot older than 25, and I was like, maybe
Yeah.
that's just heavy growth. I don't know.
That's insane. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't even. I don't even think I'm fully processing 100 units.
I
Oh
couldn't either,
God.
dude. I was just like, I was dumbfounded when I saw it.
I
Like,
feel like
obviously, it made me click on it.
I would just throw a clot. Honestly,
Yeah,
like
I'm
what the fuck,
I'm I'm wondering what happens like past like 20. Like
dude? I'm wondering
what
what happens
actually?
past 10.
To be honest with you, yeah, because I've tried. The highest I've done was I think it was 18 a day or something because I
Oh
had the
wow.
24 IU vials.
Yeah.
That didn't last but like 4 days. I was
Yeah,
so watery after that. Granted, it was in the in between the shows when I was in a little improvement phase,
that's the
so
time to do
body
that
fat
though.
was a little higher.
That's the time to do
Yeah,
that. Like either on prep or like in between shows, pushing your growth. That's the time to do it. What you don't want to do is push it super super high in the off season, unless you know you can tolerate it, right? Like I don't think
yeah,
most people can tolerate much more than 8 to 15, let's say, in an off season because you're already watery. You know, you're getting more insulin insensitive by the day, even if you're doing everything right. That's happening to a degree, but in a contest prep rather, we're getting more insulin sensitive by the day. We're probably if everything's going in a good direction, we should be reducing water weight, right? Even in the beginning.
yeah.
So it's kind of a prime time to push things. And then, I mean, realistically, I don't really think there's going to be that much of a difference in growth between, like, let's say, 8 units and 15 units. I don't think there's that much of a
Yeah.
difference. Maybe it's just that growth is such a long acting thing that it's hard to really put a handle on that, right? But I think where going high dose like that is more impactful is in a contest prep when we want to make sure we hold on to everything we have. Or, I mean, hell, dude, if you're doing 32 units in a contest prep, you might can grow.
I was thinking that you'd probably stay so full, like even
Yeah.
on minimal carbs, like because you just everything's
And just the
sticking to
amount of
you.
hyperplasia you're causing is insane at that
Oh
level.
yeah. I saw. I was watching Joe's podcast last night, like his 1K
Yeah.
giveaway, I think it was. And he was mentioning that like he's seen a huge. You'll see a drastic shift in people's composition and fullness and stuff.
Yep.
He's seen like they're deep in a prep. They might be a couple weeks out, and they're like, "Hey, man, I got this growth that I've been stashing. We've only been running 4 units a day." And he'll be like, "Okay, bump it up to 10." And he was explaining how just in a week check-in picture, week to week, you can see like this drastic change, especially when people are a lot leaner. You'll see
Yeah.
that crazy response.
I might try to do something like that. I'm gonna probably just stick to 8 for the rest of the off season.
Hmm.
Maybe during the cruise before prep, I might go down to 6 again, or maybe even less. I don't know. I feel like 6 is as low as I really would want to go with it. But I will
That's kind of where I'm
probably,
at.
yeah, I'll probably try. I'd like to do 10 for the whole prep. I'd like to
Yeah,
do
that's a
10
good
because
spot.
eight is pretty comfortable for me, affordability wise. 6, I don't even have to think about it. 6 is just in the background, no issue. 8, I'm having to think
Yeah,
about it, but it's not bad. 10, I would have to like be pretty on top of my budget, maybe pick up an extra client or something like that. But I might would want to do it for the whole contest prep, or hell, maybe just the last 10 weeks, bump it up to 10, 12, 15, something like that. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I feel like that,
Dude,
like you said, that's the time to really
I've never
push
done a
if you're not
contest
going to
prep
see
on
a
growth.
negative. Really?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to that.
So
I've
this will be your
never,
first one actually
yeah,
having growth in the whole time.
yeah. I think I maybe
Oh,
did
you're
like
gonna.
2 units. I maybe did like 2 units for like the either the first or the last 10 weeks of my first show, but I had sourcing issues and stuff like that. So I was off of it for like 2 years, 2.5 years, and then
Yeah,
I wasn't on it for that last prep either. And then during like immediately on the start of the rebound after the second show, I got on 4, went up to 6, went up to 8. I'm kind of just stuck there for a while.
yeah, yeah. You should see. Just that
Yeah.
roundness that you're gonna hold is gonna be insane. Like when you start
Yeah.
dieting down, that shoulders are gonna keep that roundness and all
I
that.
also
I
imagine
feel like that's
probably
really
probably you get a
biggest
little
key.
chunk of stage weight, honestly, just from staying on it.
Oh, 100%, definitely. I would agree with that. This prep. Let's see. Last prep, what was I running it at? I think I had introduced it at like 4 and pretty much kept it there. This one, granted, I had that time in between shows. I was using a higher dose, 10 between 8 and 10 daily. And then for this prep, I kept it at 8 pretty much the whole time, and then towards the end 6. I think that's one of the main reasons I was heavier on stage. It didn't come out. I kept it in all the way to the night before the show and everything. Um, I think that definitely translated to some more solidified like stage weight.
Could be for sure. I'm just interested to see the difference in the look, honestly.
Yeah.
Because that, I don't know. There's so many things wrong with my last prep. Like this is on our subject, but
Dude,
yeah,
yeah, you got my wheels turning now thinking
yeah,
about that too. I was just thinking today something about all that. maybe not taking my E2 so far next time.
Worth a shot, different
Because
approach.
the roundness that I'm getting back already, I think just from having that better IGF conversion from the estrogen being in there a little bit more. I'm like, man, if I could keep that and bring that in the same leanness to stage without how can you do that, you know?
Mm.
And I
That's
think it might
tough.
be some type of hormone thing.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think letrozole definitely, letrozole specifically, definitely affects your ability to fill back up, right? But it's
Yeah,
undeniable. It's undeniable. If you're slamming letrozole, it's a drier, tighter, crisper look for sure across the
yeah,
board.
yeah.
So
That
I think
skin just
it's
like
really about the look you
pulls
want to
you.
bring at the end of the day. Like, do you want to try to bring a crisper and drier look than your last look, or do you want to try to bring a fuller and rounder look than your last look, or do you want somewhere in the middle? That's kind of how you got to look at it, because I think we only get a couple of people say this, we only get like one or two perfect peaks across a career, right? And that's for a reason. That reason is this shit's complicated. Point blank.
There's so many moving parts, man.
Yeah.
It's so many moving parts.
Yeah. So I think often, instead of really trying to ride the midline there, maybe it is better to just kind of go off one direction in an approach that works. I do think with taller guys, especially, what you're saying could be beneficial to try out, not crushing the estrogen so much, because a flatter muscle on a taller body that has longer muscle bellies is going to look different than on a shorter guy, or even just
Yeah,
like someone who's like 5'9", 5'7", it's going to be a different look versus someone who's 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". I don't typically hear with the taller guys like Samson, for example, and Samson's very hush hush about everything, but even other guys, you don't typically hear about them crushing estrogen too much, but you do hear about them with diuretics.
yeah. And that's another avenue. I've almost been wondering if that's kind of how. Obviously, I need to ask more questions to the right people, but I'm wondering if that's how some of these pros are getting that super round, filled out look, but still peeled. If they're just maybe not crushing the E2 so far, leaning on the diuretics a little bit.
I think it's the other way around.
Maybe not even getting as lean. Some in some cases, some of them aren't actually getting truly peeled,
Yeah.
and they're bringing that tight look still.
I think it's the other way around, based just on who knows what people are telling, etc. But just based on what I've heard here and there from different pros talking, it seems to be that they actually will go a bit harder on the anti-estrogens and then not really mess with diuretics. It's very rare that you hear a guy today talk about using diuretics, and if you do, it's normally like a half a diazine, is what they say.
Yeah, that's the most common. Like that's all I ever hear.
So
Maybe a
I
half
would
or
assume if that's the
half.
case that they're doing a half a diazide, they're probably crushing the estrogen to still get that dry response without, having to kind of pull on both ends there.
Yeah, where back in the
It's the
'90s,
opposite.
from what I'm gathering, this past year or so, people have been coming out being a little more transparent
Yeah.
from that era, and they were the total opposite. Apparently,
Oh,
they were
dude.
slamming
I
Lasix and everything.
yeah, I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was one of the It's Just Bodybuilding with Ron Partlow and Henshaw, Dusty Henshaw. I think they were
uh,
saying that one of them had talked to, or maybe it was a different, regardless, it was some podcast. Basically, the conversation was between a somewhat recent pro and a old school pro, like from the 80s, something like that. And the old school pro from the 80s was like, yeah, you guys run way more gear, way more growth, but we ran way more diuretics. What's going to get you guys is going to be the PEDs. What's got our generation was the diuretics. We were doing injectable Lasix with aldactone, with all this shit, like just elaborate diuretic protocols.
a cocktail of diuretics.
Yeah.
They look nutty though, man. It's like
They
fuck.
did, but a part
They
of that
look.
we got to remember the camera lenses, the lighting. They had better lighting, better
That's true.
backdrops, stuff like that. I saw somebody do an edit on a photo of a modern day competitor. I don't remember who it was, but they put on like a filter that made it look like a '90s camera. They looked better immediately.
Uh, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
We they didn't have glutes or anything back then,
No, they
but I
were,
think that
yeah,
that just like separated. They were even higher body fat percentages.
for sure.
Like honestly, if you really look at it, but that I think that is what made that look cool.
Yeah.
kind of, because it's just like they were just shrink wrapping the skin even with a little bit of fat under there and stuff.
Here's
So it
an
kind of gave them that
interesting
rounder look.
here's an interesting prospect. When bodybuilding is not just about who is literally the leanest on the stage and the biggest on stage, right? When it's not just about those two things, and I would argue in 99% of shows, especially the smaller ones, that's what it comes down to. Who's the biggest? Who's the leanest? When there's
Yeah,
more, because there's not necessarily a ton of nuance there. You're either peeled or you're not. You're either the
yeah,
biggest or you're not. When there's a bit more nuance and it's like, okay, this guy's 7% body fat, this guy's 5%, this guy's 2%. That, like, it gives different looks. And then you can almost, there's not necessarily a set in stone standard. Like, think about before Gaspari, before he brought the shredded glutes to the stage. And specifically,
yeah.
he actually cut his trunks to show that. In the past, people had them, they just weren't shown in the trunks, stuff like that. That's a whole other tangent.
That's true too.
You can almost get, and I think this is why Samson won his only Olympias, because he almost kind of did this. He wasn't the most shredded. He was a different look. He was his own unique look. And there was, like, you have this end and this end of not being in shape whatsoever and almost being in two shape. Samson found that space in the middle that was right for him. And Dennis Wolf is another example of that. Notice how both
Dude,
of
he
those
was
guys
gnarly.
are. Notice how both of those guys are tall, mind you.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's almost something to do, is to try to find that midline of condition and fullness. But I don't know. I think at the amateur level, it is more so just you got to be peeled.
I was talking about that today with Dwayne, the guy that owns Elite up here in Roanoke. We were having that same conversation. I was like, man, in the amateur ranks, you just need to be thick skin shredded. Like,
Yeah,
get as peeled as you can, and you're probably going to shake out pretty well. Granted, the next Ronnie Coleman could show up, whatever, and you can't do anything about that. But you want to get as peeled as you can.
yeah,
And I was like, in the pros though, it's like finding, like we were just, like you just said, finding that balance. Like Samson, when he won, he might have been 8% body fat, but it looked great. It was
yeah,
separated. He was huge. He was round. He was still, I mean, all the detail was still there that needed to be there. And
yeah,
that just ended up working for his body where, somebody a little shorter, they might have to get down to 3 or 4% body fat to have that same type of
for
detail in their
sure.
physique.
100%. And I
Where he
think,
tried to go all the way this year and it
yeah,
backfired on him.
that's
So
what I was
it
about
was
to get at.
less conditions.
I assure you, he was leaner this year than he was last year. But I can also tell you, he didn't look as lean this year as he did last year. He looked leaner
Now,
when
and
he
once
was
I
fatter.
really started looking at the pictures compared, I was like,
It's
yeah,
just it's a
he's
worse look,
shredded.
point blank.
Hmm.
There's
That
nothing about it.
muscle's just not popping.
There's nothing about it that's better. Nothing. It's not more
Yeah,
conditioned looking. It's not harder. It's not drier. It's not fuller. It's not rounder. It is just an all around net loss, unfortunately.
yeah. And you know what sucks is, dude, I was like almost trying to find the better in this physique because I was like,
Yep.
I know he worked his ass off to
Me
get
too.
that extra condition. I know it was so hard. And I was like, when I first saw the pictures by themselves in that guest posing he did, I was like, oh, dude, he's bang on, looks
Well,
gnarly.
he
But then
was
everyone
there.
started mentioning he looked way too flat and all that
Yeah.
for the timing. And I was like,
If he would have started
might not
eating
be
up,
good.
if he would have started eating up from that guest posing, I think he would have won this year. The problem is he took that point at the guest posing where he was arguably too flat and too small. Probably it's wild to say that someone who's 300 plus pounds is small, by the way, but it's just there's no other way to say it. But he took that look that was probably already like he didn't need to push anymore, and he just continued to push. And he just ate in the tissue at that point. And I
He
think
got
that's
he got
something.
hyper focused on condition.
Yeah, I think that's something that happens to me, man. It has to be because every prep I've done, I've been pushed into the ground for anywhere from 16 to 19 weeks. No refeed, no titration up of food at all whatsoever, no break from cardio whatsoever, etc. And I think there's a certain point where I'd say like maybe so most of my preps are 20 plus weeks, right? So after 10 weeks of pushing, 10 weeks out or so, it's almost like my body just will stop getting leaner and then we just have to dig into a point that is not good. And that has me super hyped to prep again though because now okay, I've done it twice. It happened both. Even though I was on more food the second time, it still happened. Clearly, it doesn't matter because I was on like 4 or 5,000 calories for the majority of that second prep. Like my food was high for a long time. I think the lowest my food got was like 3,500 calories, something like that.
That's that's not a
But
bad that's not a bad spot right
But for
there.
my body, it wasn't enough. I needed a bump here and there because the moment we added in a refeed, I just started dropping weight like crazy. Then my food shot up to like 5,500 calories.
Yeah. So you knew, yeah. Well, if you refeed and then you drop again, you know
Yeah.
it's you need more for sure because it's like your body's like, hey, this is what we need. We're burning through everything. Like, and sometimes I've noticed too when you're digging, that weight will start sticking because of like the fatigue and all
Yeah.
the inflammation creeping up. You do that refeed and it's like boom, all that
Yeah.
fatigue washes off and all that extra weight. It's interesting, man, how that fucking works.
Yeah, man. And then that
So
last
you
prep,
probably definitely do need a lot more food going in
oh,
for sure.
probably.
Like you can't let it get that if you were finding yourself in that position.
Yeah. And I'd say for like the last 6 weeks of my prep, I didn't get a pump in the gym.
Just
Like,
freaking
not a
in
single
there,
one.
just flat
Yeah.
airbags.
Yeah, flat airbags, no, like no feeling. And I maintained all of my pressing strength, and I actually got stronger on my pressing up until about 5 6 weeks out. And I was incline pressing 315 for reps with a barbell until that point.
Damn.
Bro, when I was a week out, I was down to I think a 25 on each side on the bar, or maybe it was a
Holy
35.
hell, dude.
It might have it was no more than a 45 for my top set, and I think my back off sets were like a 25 or a 35.
That's a huge drop from
Yeah,
315 to
yeah,
man.
and that was communicated, and nothing was done about it. So just having someone who's going to actually, manage fatigue, as corny as that sounds, it is needed in a contest prep.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so hyped to do this prep. I got a
Oh,
bone to pick
dude.
on myself. I got shit to prove to myself. I'm looking forward to it.
And you're gonna do that much better because
Yeah,
you're so excited, and then you're just so focused too to like beat that last look, and
yeah,
you got a great coach, in your corner now, things like
yeah,
that. One thing I've been telling people, dude, anyone can fucking starve anybody. Like it
yeah,
takes a coach to actually coach you and get you to the stage looking awesome.
yeah,
I can put anybody on 100 grams of carbs and 300 grams of protein for 25 weeks.
yep,
They're going to be in shape regardless of what we do. But actually knowing when to refeed, when to increase calories, all these things, that's what makes it a good coach. So,
for sure.
yeah, man, I'm excited to see what you do because I'm honestly tired of seeing that where people are just like veggie protein only
Yeah.
and all my coaches the best. Dude, anyone can do that. I can put Betty
Oh
Lou
yeah.
on
Yeah.
green beans and chicken and she's gonna lose weight. So it's like
Yeah, for sure.
bodybuilding is different. It's not just about starving yourself.
No, not at all. And it's bodybuilding, not body starvation. It's
Exactly.
not a starvation contest. It's not a suffering contest. It's a bodybuilding contest. Like, you got to go in there big. And it's like, sometimes all it takes is an attentive eye and someone who gives a shit. Because I had my
That's half of
lowest,
coaching,
yeah,
dude. It's just paying attention to your
exactly.
people, man.
I've been with a high level coach. I can tell you, it ain't all it's cracked up to be. It doesn't mean anything. The information is out there, dude. Most coaches are good. Like most $100 a month coaches, I'd argue are just as good as the high level coaches. As long as they may
Yeah.
not have as much of a resume, their prices are probably only low just because their name isn't out there, right? And
They're
then,
trying to build their brand and stuff.
yeah, exactly. And it's like all you need is someone that is paying attention, listening to feedback, and really being a second eye for you for the most part.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially like somebody like you already know what works for you for the most part.
And I'll run
You might need
myself
some
into the
little
ground.
ideas here and things like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know what protocols are going to work, what to do when. And like you said, just you kind of just need somebody to tell you, hey, let's pull the
Yeah.
reins back, or maybe you need to eat a little bit more of that.
And here's the problem too. And I only had that first prep where I was so small. I was like 170 pounds on stage versus almost 200 the second time. It's a big difference. So I only had that first prep to really go off of, right? And it was so different. It was like, okay, I got to do this same exact approach again just to make sure it was the right approach. And it wasn't. The only mistake I
Yeah.
made is just not leaving the approach sooner. That's it. But I gave it a fair shot and stuff like that. But yeah, it's tough because I'm gonna drive myself into the ground during those contest preps. I assure you, you would not hear me complaining about not having a cheat meal. If anything, I probably would have argued against a cheat meal at those times or a refeed meal of any kind.
Especially in that when you're in that
Yeah,
zone, like you're almost in such a fight or flight mode because
yeah,
one, you're just starving so hard. you got tunnel vision. You're like,
Yeah.
that's not on my plan. I'm not eating it. I don't care
I
how
don't want to
fat
get the
or how
taste
hungry
back.
I am.
You know, it just like right now, like with Thanksgiving tomorrow, I don't want to reintroduce those foods because then I'm going to crave them. Right now, I don't crave them. I have no
Yeah,
food focus. No food focus right now whatsoever for me. I'm at a 0 on food focus for me, which is probably like a 5 or a 6 for any other human being. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Hey, dude, can we hang on for 1 second? I got to piss really
Yeah,
bad.
actually, we're at about an hour and a half here. I think this is a good place to wrap.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. That
Yeah.
flew.
Yeah, it did.
That's awesome.
They always do, man. Always a good time, chopping it up, talking about bodybuilding. Always fun.
Dude, I love it, man. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, but I'll let you go before your bladder explodes. Be sure to check out. I hope I remember to do this, but I want to put the Core Nutritional affiliate link in the bio and description here. So check that out. Check out Core Nutritionals. Also check out Granite. Both companies are doing Black Friday sales right now. I hope you guys all have a happy Thanksgiving. Be sure to spend the time with your loved ones. If you're in an off season, you don't have to be crazy like me. Enjoy an off plan meal. I'm doing this to myself just because I think it's going to pay off within the next couple of months. 99% of you guys enjoy a meal with your family. You'll be fine. You're not going to eat 20,000 calories in a sitting like I could.
I'm going to eat some pecan pie tomorrow. Promise.
Yeah, go for it. And hey, eat a slice for me. And that's what I'm going to tell everyone I'm around. I'm not going to be negative Nancy about it. I'm going to be like, yeah, eat that food. Hey, yo, grab an extra slice for me and eat it for me, please. That's I'm going to be. It'll be all right. We'll be chill with it.
Yeah, you're gonna be thankful in at next show that you did have this discipline all through this time. It's gonna pay off.
Yeah, it's just all about being better. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this has been another episode of the Iron Obsession Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the last 5 minutes, drop a 5-minute crew comment. I see you guys down there doing it. It is always awesome when I see that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching.